cube trapped 6 strangers in a maze of lethal rooms and became a cult classic on almost no money. But did you know there's a lost ending the director filmed, then destroyed? Or that the entire film used only one room? 15 facts about the film that shouldn't have worked, starting with the destroyed ending. The alternate ending that answered everything. The cube you know ends in ambiguity. Kazan, the sole survivor, steps through the hatch into blinding white light, and the film cuts to black before we learn what's out there. But Natalie shot a final scene answering that question, then removed it from the very first assembly cut. According to a December 1996 script draft published on his own website, the intended ending had Kazan walk out of the cube and materialize on a crowded city street in different clothes, surrounded by shoppers and businessmen completely oblivious to him, before vanishing into the crowd as the film faded over skyscrapers, identical suburban houses, and gridlocked roads. The script's closing line, "Another day at the office." Natalie has said the footage was cut immediately and joked that he burned it and stomped on it. Whether any copy survives is unknown. The most debated ending in cult sci-fi exists only as words on a page. The Alien Planet version fans swear they saw, "Here's where it gets genuinely strange." For decades, viewers have insisted they saw a different cube ending in theaters. Kazan emerging not onto a street, but onto a beach or clifftop on a purple alien world. Endless ocean before him. Vast mechanical grinding noises rolling like tides. And when he turns, both the cube's exit and his own footprints are gone. Multiple eyewitness accounts across forums describe this scene from 1998 screenings in different countries. There's real substance behind the memory. In earlier drafts, the cube's builders weren't left mysterious at all. They were aliens testing humans, and one deleted scene reportedly featured the group finding a candy wrapper printed with alien lettering. Natalie abandoned that answer, calling it too easy, and the finished film keeps its silence. Whether those theatrical screenings genuinely carried an alien ending or memory has rewritten itself, no confirmed footage has ever surfaced. Cube's ending is a mystery about a mystery. The whole movie is one room. Cube's greatest trick is that the labyrinth doesn't exist. Only a single cubic room was ever built, 14 feet on every side, raised off the soundstage floor so it could be lit through all its walls, with just one working door strong enough to bear an actor's weight. Everything else was illusion. Sliding gel panels changed the room's color, transforming the same set into an apparently endless honeycomb. Because swapping those panels was slow, the film couldn't be shot in sequence. Natalie wanted chronological order, but logistics won. Every scene set in a red room was shot together, then every blue, then white, and so on. Actors leaping around the story to match the lighting. The plan called for 6 colors, matching the film's obsessive theme of 6. The budget wouldn't stretch to the 6th gel, so there are 5. The infinite maze of modern cult cinema is one box and some colored plastic. It cost $350,000 and was shot in 20 days. The numbers behind Cube are almost absurd. The film was made for roughly 350,000 Canadian dollars. Less than the catering budget on a studio picture, and shot in about 20 days. It emerged from the Canadian Film Centre's first feature project, a program designed to launch debut filmmakers, and it remains the program's most famous success by a wide margin. Then came the payoff. Cube grossed around $9 million worldwide, more than 25 times its budget, becoming a genuine international phenomenon, especially in Japan and France, where audiences embraced it with an enthusiasm North America took years to match. Critics who normally sneer at micro-budget horror praised its ingenuity, and the film has been held up ever since as the definitive proof that a strong idea beats a big check. 6 actors, 1 room, 20 days. Few films in history have converted so little into so much. Natalie made a short film just to prove it could work. Nobody wanted to finance a movie set inside a single box. So Natalie did something clever. He built a proof of concept. After writing Cube, he made a short film called Elevated, set entirely inside an elevator with characters trapped in a confined space facing an unseen threat outside. Its purpose was explicit. Show investors how a claustrophobic single-location film could actually look and feel on screen, and prove that terror doesn't need geography. It worked. Elevated got Cube financed and became a cult item in its own right, admired as a masterclass in confined space tension. The lineage is neat. An elevator convinced people to fund a Cube. Natalie's whole career would keep returning to the idea, most memorably in Nothing, where two men discover the entire world outside their house has become an empty white void. Some directors chase spectacle. Natalie spent his career proving 4 walls are enough. Every character is named after a prison. Cube's naming scheme is one of cinema's most elegant hidden systems. Every character carries the name of a real prison. Alderson, the first victim diced in the opening, takes his name from a West Virginia facility known for isolation, fitting for a man who dies alone before meeting anyone. Ren, the veteran escape artist who mentors the group, is named for the French prison that pioneered modern penal policy. Kazan, the autistic savant, shares his name with a Russian prison noted for disorganization. And Levin and Worth together form Leavenworth, the corporately run Kansas penitentiary, appropriately split between the young mathematician and Worth, the architect who helped build the Cube's shell. The scheme quietly reinforces the film's central suggestion. These people may be inmates, and the Cube may be a sentence. Natalie never spells it out. He just names his characters after cages and lets you notice. Quick pause at the hatch. If this deep dive is earning it, hit like and subscribe, because we map a cult classic every week. Now, back into the maze. Starting with the very different film Cube almost was. The first draft had a monster, moss, and a cannibal. The lean, stripped-down thriller began as something far weirder. Natalie's original idea, dating to 1990, was a film set entirely in hell. By the time he wrote the first Cube script in 1994, while working as a storyboard artist's assistant at an animation studio, the story contained a distinctly more surreal grab bag. A comedic tone, dreamlike imagery, edible moss growing on the walls, a cannibal among the prisoners, and an actual monster roaming the corridors. It was his roommate and childhood filmmaking partner, Andrei Bielich, who helped strip the concept to its bones. People, traps, maze, nothing else. Scenes set outside the Cube were deleted. The victims' identities kept shifting. Accountants in some drafts, criminals in others. And the single most important change was removing food and water entirely, which transformed a puzzle into a ticking clock. The monster left, and the film got scarier. It's Hitchcock's lifeboat in a box. Cube's confinement gimmick has a distinguished ancestor, and Natalie knew it. Alfred Hitchcock's 1944 film Lifeboat, famously shot entirely within a single lifeboat with no actor ever standing during its runtime, has been cited as an inspiration for Cube's approach. Both films take the same wager: strip away the world, trap incompatible strangers in a container, and let the real horror be the people. That inheritance explains why Cube endures while flashier sci-fi ages badly. The traps are memorable, the wire lattice, the acid spray, but the film's true engine is social collapse. A cop who becomes a tyrant, a doctor who becomes a conspiracy theorist, a mathematician who becomes essential, and the man everyone dismisses turning out to be the key. Hitchcock proved a boat was enough. Natalie proved a box was. Both were really making films about what people do to each other when there's nowhere left to go. It birthed a whole subgenre. And Saw's DNA, look at what came after. Cube arrived in 1997 with a formula that would dominate the next 2 decades. strangers with no memory, an inescapable architecture, lethal engineering, and a hidden designer whose motives may not exist. Saw took that structure and added a moralizing villain. Escape Room turned it into a franchise. Japanese and Korean thrillers, video games, and countless indie films borrowed the geometry. Even Netflix's puzzle box hits owe it a debt. The film's own franchise grew fast. Cube 2. Hypercube arrived in 2002, Cube 0 in 2004, neither involving Natali, and a Japanese remake landed in 2021. A Hollywood remake titled Cubed was announced in 2015 and stalled. Not bad for a Canadian debut shot in 3 weeks. Cube didn't just succeed, it handed an entire generation of filmmakers a blueprint, and they're still building rooms out of it. David Hewlett's audition became a career watchworth. The exhausted, sardonic architect who turns out to have helped design the Cube's outer shell. And you're watching an actor about to become a genre institution. David Hewlett was a longtime collaborator of Natali's, and Cube gave him the showcase that would define his path: the clever, sarcastic, faintly defeated smart guy. He'd later become beloved to science fiction audiences worldwide as Dr. Rodney McKay in Stargate Atlantis, one of the most popular characters in that franchise. Viewers of this channel will appreciate the loop. Our Stargate episode covered how Roland Emmerich's 1994 film spawned a television empire that its creators were locked out of. And one of that empire's most cherished stars got his breakout in a Canadian box. Nicole DeBoer, meanwhile, went straight from Levin to Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, as Ezri Dax. One tiny film, 2 franchise careers, the traps were mostly practical. And the first kill still stuns. Cube's opening 90 seconds remain among the most effective cold opens in horror. A man steps forward and is instantly cut into a lattice of perfect cubes which slide apart and collapse. It's shocking, partly because it's so early, and partly because it's so clean. No monster, no motive, just geometry doing violence. The effects were achieved primarily through practical means, prosthetics and mechanical rigs from small Canadian effects houses, with digital work used sparingly, which is exactly why the film hasn't dated the way its bigger budget contemporaries have. The wire trap, the acid spray, the sound design of machinery grinding somewhere unseen, all of it built rather than rendered. The lesson is one this channel keeps rediscovering across decades of sci-fi. When the money runs out, filmmakers reach for physical craft. And physical craft is what still looks convincing 30 years later. Nobody ever explains the cube. On purpose, Cube's boldest decision is refusing to answer its own question. Who built it? Why? Worth, the architect, offers the film's most chilling theory, that no one is truly in charge, that it's a vast bureaucratic accident, a project nobody can stop because responsibility has been diffused into nothing. There's no villain to defeat, no conspiracy to expose, just a machine that exists because systems exist. That was a deliberate reversal. Earlier drafts, as we've covered, blamed aliens. Others implied a penal sentence. Natali cut every explanation, and the film became infinitely more disturbing for it. Audiences have argued about the cube's purpose for nearly 30 years, precisely because the film refuses to close the door. The sequels, notably, tried to explain and are far less admired for it. Cube's most quoted idea isn't a trap or a twist. It's the suggestion that the most terrifying systems have no author at all. The trap nobody filmed. Cube's sound is half the horror. Ask anyone what scared them in Cube and they'll describe something they never actually saw: the sound. Composer Mark Corvin built a score out of scraping metal, industrial groans, and low mechanical breathing. The noise of enormous machinery shifting somewhere beyond the walls, operated by no one. It's the film's cheapest and most effective special effect. The budget couldn't show the cube's exterior scale, so the soundtrack implied it. Every distant grind tells you the structure is vast, alive, and indifferent. Corvin would later become a horror-scoring institution, best known for The Witch and The Lighthouse, and famous for inventing the apprehension engine, a purpose-built instrument designed to produce nothing but dread. Cube is where that instinct first surfaced. Watch the film Muted, and it's 6 people arguing in a red box. Turn the sound on, and the box becomes a machine that's been running since before they arrived. Japan and France made it a phenomenon. Cube's international life dwarfed its domestic one. The film became a substantial hit in Japan and France, where audiences embraced its cerebral, ambiguous cruelty far faster than North America did. Japanese enthusiasm was strong enough that the country eventually produced its own official remake in 2021, decades after the original. In France, the film's puzzle box philosophy fit neatly into a culture with a long appetite for existential genre cinema. That pattern, a modest domestic release, an enormous overseas embrace, then a slow homecoming through video and streaming, is one this series keeps encountering. Like several films we've covered, Cube's real audience was somewhere its distributors weren't looking. And it's why Natali, a first-time Canadian director working with borrowed resources, found himself an internationally recognized name almost overnight. The box traveled better than anyone expected. Turns out claustrophobia needs no translation. The $350,000 film that proved ideas beat budgets. Step back, and Cube's legacy is a rebuke to an entire industry. Made for the price of a single blockbuster effects shot in 20 days, with 1 set and 6 actors, it outthought and outlived films that cost hundreds of times more. It launched a franchise, seeded a subgenre, made an international name of its director, and remains the standard reference for what a debut filmmaker can accomplish with constraint rather than cash. But its deepest achievement is philosophical. Cube is about people trapped inside a system they didn't build, can't understand, and can't hold anyone accountable for. And 30 years on, that metaphor has only sharpened. Every viewer finds their own cube in it. Bureaucracy, capitalism, fate, the internet, the job. That's why it endures while slicker films evaporate. The traps were clever. The idea was immortal, and it all fit inside one 14-foot room. Those were 14 facts most fans have never heard about Cube. Which one got you? The destroyed ending, or the alien planet version people swear they saw? Solve it in the comments. If this earned it, hit like, subscribe, and send it to the friend who still counts prime numbers in elevators. Until next time, watch your step.